The stereotype persists in many Christian circles that Judaism is a religion of law and judgment, and Christianity is a religion of love and forgiveness. This is a very wrong view of Judaism. If we look at this week's parashah, we see that Judaism begins with love. Deuteronomy 10:12. And now, O Israel, what does the Lord your God require of you? Only this, to revere the Lord your God, to walk only in his paths, to love him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, keeping the Lord's commandments and laws, which I enjoin upon you today for your good. The root ahav, aleph he bet, from which various words for love are formed in Hebrew, occurs 44 times in Genesis, 8 times in Exodus, 11 times in Leviticus, not at all in Numbers, but 95 times in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy emphasizes love more than all the other books of the Torah put together. Interestingly enough, belief is not emphasized. It was shocking to me when someone once pointed out that neither the Bible nor the Talmud ever commands us to believe in God. What we are commanded is to love God and keep his commandments. That I find very interesting. Now, when you think about it, how can you command someone to believe in God? The answer is you can't. The most you can do is try and persuade someone to believe in God, but you cannot command it. But you can command someone to love God? How so, you might ask? Traditionally in Judaism, love for God is expressed in keeping Shabbat and the holidays, praying 3 times a day with tallit and tefillin where appropriate, eating kosher. In other words, commandments between us and God. In keeping these commandments, we deepen our connection with God. Now, for non-Jews, keeping the Noahide laws, this involves prayer and meditation on God, his works, or his creation. It also involves blessing and thanking God for the good things he does in our lives every day, things which are also incumbent upon Jews. And for all of us, it involves staying away from idolatry and blasphemy against God. What I discovered was that simply performing the commandments that build my relationship with God deepened my faith in him. I didn't need to do any difficult leaps of faith or anything like that. I often think of my love for Lydia, my wife. It deepens by my drawing close to her, relating to her, getting to know her better, listening to her, doing things to look out for her best interests and protect her. All of these things bring me close to her so that no one needs to tell me to believe in her. I already believe that she is the most incredibly beautiful and giving person I know. I just need to continually learn how to love her better. Why should it be any different in my relationship with the creator of the universe? But what about the commandments detailing how I relate with my fellow human beings? They can all be summarized by love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19:18, which Rabbi Akiva had already summed up. The rest of the commands dealing with our fellow humans just explicate how to do that effectively. In fact, both of Jesus' 2 great commands in the New Testament did not originate with him. They both come from the Torah, almost a millennium and a half before Jesus. It's only because most Christians have no experience with religious Jews that they say these things. Now, I do want to point out that keeping the commandments do play an important role in Judaism, but it all starts with love for Hashem and trusting him that he knows what's best for us. And notice how Deuteronomy 10:12 asks the question, what does the Lord your God require of you? And the answer that it gives is probably a surprising one to many Christians unfamiliar to Judaism. He never says to believe in the Messiah when he comes. The answer is to love God and keep his commandments. This is repeated many times throughout the Hebrew Bible. Confirm Micah 6:8. He has told you, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you, only to do justice and to love goodness and to walk modestly with our God. That is it. That's what Hashem requires of Jews. The 613 commandments that are incumbent upon Jews to keep from the Torah and Mount Sinai, they just explain how to love Hashem and how to walk modestly to do justice and love goodness and walk modestly with God. Now, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Christianity or to attack it as not being the true way or anything like that. I'm only trying to ask Christians to accept us as Jews, to see us on the same level that you see Christianity. In other words, Judaism is also an equally effective way to God. Thank you very much, and may Hashem bless you this week.